It's your friendly neighborhood surveyor. A day off because it's raining outside. Southern California, we get all of our rain in about 1 month. So, got a video about what are you worth as a surveyor, and if you're just in the business, my opinion, you got to build your worth. Build your worth, and that will serve you well if you stay in this field. Okay, this video may be a little janky, but I go through this all the time with, I don't even want to call them new hires anymore because they've been with us for 2 years. And because we're not a union company, they don't have that training schedule or that classroom type of option. So I tried to do as much as I can. I tried to explain along as we go, but we work as a dun dun dun. Let's see. I work a lot of times as a one-man crew. Two-man it is probably the maximum. If somebody takes a day off or whatever, then we'll go to a three-man. But I would say two-man crew is what we do most. And where that fails the new person is, so when I started with the union, we had a three-man crew, and this is back in 1987. So as a three-man crew, the party chief would be doing the calcs. Usually the head chainman ran the instrument, head chainman, and the rear chainman ran the rod. And there was a lot of teaching during this time right here. Now, with technology, I don't care who runs the rod, but the rod has the data collector on it as well. So, and then, there's the person putting in the nails or the hubs, and I like to switch off because I can give a shit who runs this as long as it's ran right. I don't have a superiority complex. I'd rather teach the person how to do this, and if I can put in the points faster, but it gives them an idea of what the job entails. And if you only have one person running the rod and the data collector, or I've seen like two-man crews where the party chief is, he has the data collector only, and then the other guy has the rod. And I don't know, it just seems like no one's teaching anybody anything. To me, this is now the party chief. He's doing all the calcs now. But anyhow, probably got off topic. But I try to tell these guys, you got to be worth something, because in surveying, you're going to have good years and bad years and weather and stuff like that. Now, in California, weather is really not our biggest enemy. It's the economy. But I tell these guys that if you had to move out of California and let's say you want to go to Texas, well, you're going to be a representative of our company, because we taught you everything that you supposedly know. And if you go to Texas and you don't know shit, you're really worth nothing. You didn't listen. You didn't take the time to ask the right questions, or even just ask questions at all. You just put in nails or hubs for a living. So how do you get your worth? I guess I would say. So when I started in the business in 1987, the first company I worked for, Hunt Sackler and Associates, or the big company, we had, I think, 18 crews or something like that. So we all had a T16. There were no total stations back in 1987. So we had a T16. The company had a couple top mount electronic distance meters, so EDMs, and we measured, because EDMs weren't that accurate. We used those for rough grade, plus or minus a tenth. We turned all of our angles with T16s. We would set actuals. I don't know how many people still do it this way, but so if I come off being a little pompous, hey, it is what it is. But we did everything manually, and it wasn't that much different than the guys or the generation that came before us. So T16s, top mounted EDMs for a rough grade or to shoot distances, and and we measured most things with a 100-foot chain or a 300-foot chain. So you had to know all the calibrations on temperature and pull. We used lath sights and block sights for our back sights or range pulls, things like that. We were backsighting with azimuths, not just punching in. I'm on point one, backsighting point two, check point three. Everything we did was manual on a calculator. Manual, when we turned angles, we, got the means. We did manual transverse, inverses, vertical curves. We use plumb bobs. I still use my plumb bob. I still use my hand level, but there's just less and less of that going on right now. And there's less and less opportunity to show people how to use these things that are actually quicker. But the majority of our job does not require these anymore, at least on what we're doing. And I think we don't have that teaching opportunity on like how the math works here and how to catch mistakes. So I would say, I'm not saying you have to learn how to manually turn an angle, but do it a couple times. Have someone show you what you used to have to do. I'm not even sure if you can do it with today's instruments manually, locking an angle and invert the instrument and stuff. But it kind of gives you an appreciation of how things used to be done. But if you knew how to wrap angles, if you knew how when to use an EDM, if you knew how to accurately pull a chain, and do these calculations manually, you were worth a lot. I mean, this is what made a good party chief. It's but the stuff is not used as much anymore because technology and stuff. So I worked from 1987, 1987 through about, I'd say 1997. And then I changed careers. I hurt my back and stuff and had to change careers. And I got back and forth from about 2000 to 2008. Kind of did surveying back and forth to kind of fill in the blanks. It was always a trade that I remember, so the math never changed. The only thing that changed was the technology. And I got back into it full time in 2016. And in that amount of time, so when I was in this area, GPS, we had one GPS crew. You had to have at least 5 satellites, and most of the work was done like 11 p.m. through 3 a.m. And that point, think of it as like a static session. It isn't how it is now. Now you can get 26 out of 30 satellites all day long. So now what makes me worth something is I went from this to knowing GPS. We fly our own drones, certified pilot. Knowing how to proficiently use those data collectors, like doing line work and stuff like that. You have to work as a one-man crew. Time management is crazy important. And then knowing the difference between somebody who's been in the union and or has just been non-union. Union has its advantages. Non-union has its advantages as well. But if you're not in a union in the beginning, you're missing out on a lot of that classroom training. So I don't know how to get that otherwise, because it's really hard to go through all the stuff that you would learn in the union if you work non-union. There does need to be some classes online. There probably are some, and I would love to work with people where we can do something like that. And I know I've made a video on that before, but all that stuff takes time, and then it takes participants. If people aren't willing to learn and they just go day by day, then fuck it. I'm not, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to waste my time trying to teach people that don't want to learn. I do that all day anyhow. And then you got to start looking at your company. You know, what kind of company are you working for? Are you working for a company that is advanced in what they're doing, or are they doing the same thing all the time and it's one owner and he's going to retire in 5 years and all you do is lot surveys, which is fine if that's all you want to do. But is there any room for advancing? Are you always going to be a rodman? I really hate those terms, rodman, instrument man, and stuff like that. I think every good company should be training. I don't want to say training their competition, but you want your employees to be worth something, because if they do leave and go to another company, it's a great compliment if that person represents where they came from really well. Otherwise, if they don't, like if we got somebody, let's say from state X, and they don't know shit, we're gonna say, all those guys are all, they're just terrible. They're just terrible. Or if they came in knowing their stuff and they kind of teach us stuff, it's like, man, we need to up our game a little bit. So technology moves fast, and but we use it every day. It's in our everyday life, and we just need to know how to catch mistakes. It's that garbage in, garbage out kind of stuff. See your party chief. What's your party chief doing? Is he hiding plans from you? Is he not teaching you? Is he kind of protecting his job more than teaching? Really, what do they know? To me, what makes a good party chief is good time management. Otherwise, they don't know how to manage their own job, or the job that they're being sent out to. And again, training. I would love to get with some people and make some training videos that are available on YouTube, so that, like, let's say you get rained out, you can come back into the office, go on YouTube and watch some stuff, make some suggestions, and let's get input from people from other states, not just from some dude out in Southern California. And then what are your options again at your company? Is there room for advancement, or are you just going to stay at the same place? What if your party chief decides to take a vacation week? Are you able to step in? That's what the union is good for, is at a certain apprenticeship level, or being a certified chainman, you should be able to take over that job if something happens to the party chief. Do you have the same options there? So I think all this stuff is very important before you get into the math of it all. I get into a lot of stupid arguments with people on Facebook and such. I haven't posted on Facebook in a long time, because too many people are like, why are you tying sewer lath up in orange flagging when sewer's green? And why aren't you using hubs? And why are you using nails? And, that has nothing to do with surveying. That has shit to do with surveying. That has more to do with time management. You got equipment waiting on you. You got the costs. You got, can you do 200 points in the day? You got 3 jobs to go to. I'm not going to waste my time on watching a guy bust a sledgehammer handle on hubs when we can just throw in nails. So to me, get off the whole topic of well, we do it this way, you guys are doing it wrong. No, get into what are you worth? What are you worth? Because if I go out to, let's say, North Carolina, I know they survey different style out there, but I'm still going to be worth something out there because I know the math. I know the math of surveying, and that doesn't change. I know how to read plans. I know how to use a data collector. I know, we use Carlson, but I can work my way through any of the other programs. It's like Apple or Android. I can figure it out. I'm worth something no matter where I go. But if you're so ignorant or set on your ways to where you can't conform to the way somebody else does their work, because you got to realize that I'll use just North Carolina as an example. The way they do things out there is the way everybody does things out there. So the guys digging the trench, the guys doing the buildings, building the wall, whatever, they're used to how you do things. You come out to California and it changes. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It just changes. So embrace it and go, wow, okay, I learned a different style of how people do things, but understand everyone out here does it that way. It still gets put in the correct way no matter what place you go to. It's just with the different style. So it's, again, if you had an iPhone and now you move and you have to use Android, you can't say, well, these guys are all fools. No, we're not. We just use Android. You use Apple. We don't like Apple. Apple doesn't work for us. No one uses Apple out here. We use Android. Just an example. So what are you worth and how do you get worth? To me, you get worth by learning the math, learning how things were done and how to check your work and how to leave the job to where everything is done right. You're not worth anything just because you tie a knot in a different way or you put in wood instead of a nail. That doesn't give you worth. It gives you worth if you know the difference when to put in that nail and when to put in that hub. Not just because you do it one way, because that's the way you were only taught. So let me know what you guys think about like training videos and stuff like that, or give me some questions. Give me some questions. Everyone says that they want something, but I never get any questions, and then I can reach out to people that actually teach some of these classes, and maybe they have something that's already made. But that's it, man. What are you worth? Survey out.